As you can see, the milk fridge is full. I wasn't planning to make cheese today, but gotta do something about this. So we are going to put together a halloumi. This is our first time ever doing this one, so if we fail, we're failing on a video. So hopefully we can pull this off. Let's go back in the kitchen. Halloumi cheese is a Greek-style cheese that is known for the fact that it doesn't melt and you can throw it on the grill, and actually like BBQ cheese. I've never done this one before, so I started going through some of my books for recipes. I first looked at this one and I wanted to show you. It's got this really nice picture. Doesn't that just make you want to eat it? Like, yum. But the recipe in this book didn't call for any culture, which had me a little bit worried, because the rennet don't necessarily set up your milk if it doesn't get acid enough. So then I went on to Cheesemaking.com, I found their recipe. Theirs actually is a 1 gallon batch, calls for a pack of their little buttermilk culture. I'm gonna do a 2.5 gallon batch, and since I'm using my raw goat milk, I'm just gonna use the 1 pack, maybe even half a pack of this buttermilk culture. So first thing we're gonna do is get this milk into this pot that I've sterilized over here and heat it up to 90 degrees. Okay, this is up to 88 degrees. I lied a little bit. It was the recipe in the book that said 90. The one online said 86 to 88, so we're at 88. Kind of cutting the difference, I guess. I'm gonna put half of this pack of buttermilk culture. I'm gonna float it on the top here and let that rehydrate for about 5 minutes and stir it in. Okay, the recipe called for a 1/4 teaspoon of rennet for 1 gallon. So we got 2.5 gallons, so we're gonna use 2/4 teaspoons and then 1/8. That's just the way I'm gonna do it. I'm putting in about a 1/4 cup of water here. There we go. Now I'm gonna go back over to my pot, mix my culture in some, with this up-down motion with my ladle. And then I'm gonna mix my rennet in. After that, we put a lid on this, maintain your temperature at 88 degrees, and let it sit for 45 minutes. It's been about 45 minutes, and we've got a clean break going on this now. You can see a little layer of whey on the top. I'm going to cut these in 1-inch cubes, doing the vertical cut, and then let it set up for 3 to 5 minutes before coming back and doing the horizontal cut with my ladle. We're going to do the the horizontal cut now, using the ladle and just going down about 1 inch between each layer here. And after we've done that, we'll let this set up for 5 minutes and then come back and slowly raise this temperature to about 100, 102 degrees. And we want to do this over about a 20-minute time frame. So I'm going to leave that sit for 5 minutes. We'll break up any big chunks we have left when we come back to stir it. All right, pop my thermometer back in there, put my heat back on, tell my alarm to hush up, hush up. Okay, we are aiming for about 100 degrees, because remember, this is going to have a little residual heat in the pot, which will bring it probably up to about 102 when we take it off the heat. So I'm going to slowly stir this over the next 20 minutes, and in the beginning here, I'm going to go through these bigger pieces like this and just make sure we've got them in about 1-inch cubes. That horizontal cut can sometimes be tricky to get even. Alrighty, it's been 20 minutes. We are at 100.9 degrees, and I just want to show you real quick how these curds look now that they've cooked down a bit. See this? So now we need to leave it at this temperature for another 20 minutes and stir about every 3 minutes just to keep them from clumping together. All right, in another 20 minutes, and it's time to get these curds out of this whey, and we need to save the whey because part of making this halloumi is to cook the cheese back in the whey towards the end of this. Now we got to bring this whey up to eventually about 190 degrees, which means we can make ricotta from it before we make our halloumi. First thing first though, I got all of my basket molds out because I wasn't sure what I was going to use, but I think we'll use these. I don't know, I like these. And so I'm going to use the ladle and scoop out the thermometer. Let's try this again. Scoop out the curds into our baskets. And I don't know how many of these will fill up. I'm going to start with 2 and we'll go from there. I've set up my trusty baking tray with the rack in it over here so these can drain on that. So after I scoop it out, I'm going to move it over to the baking tray. Now the recipe said that once we have these scooped out and they start to drain down, we can stack the mold to put a little extra pressure on it to make sure that all these curds get consolidated. And so that is what we will do once I find all my curds down in here. Okay, I'm just going to make sure that these curds are kind of compressed in here. Let them drain for a little bit and then I'll go ahead and stack them. And we'll switch them and flip them every couple of minutes just to make sure that they get pressed down easily. Meanwhile, we're going to come back over here and start heating this pot up. Oops, we got some more curds. I'm going to fish these out first. For our ricotta, the directions tell us to bring this up to 150 degrees. This is the whey here that has all the curds removed. At 150 degrees, we're going to add about a 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid. You can use a couple tablespoons of vinegar or lemon juice, would work the same way. And then continue to bring it up to about 190 degrees. That's when the curd, or what curd is left, is going to separate from this whey, and we'll be able to scoop that off in the form of ricotta. I'm going to add a little bit of salt to it at that point just to have a more flavorful ricotta. Let's just flip these once, and we'll continue flipping these every couple of minutes. When they get settled down well, we'll start stacking. 150 degrees now, and I'm going to chuck a little bit of citric acid in here. That'll just help to get what curd is left in our whey to separate. And I'm going to continue to heat this up to about 190 degrees is usually where the curd breaks away from the whey. Moving on over here, these are draining down nicely. I'm going to give them a big flip. Stack them back on top of each other. Okay, we're at about 190 degrees here, and you can see that this has started to separate curds from whey. So I'm going to turn the heat off. Grab our kosher salt here, add about a tablespoon of this. It's totally optional, just adds a little flavor to it. And I'm going to grab a spoon, not a slotted spoon, not a ladle. Hopefully in my drawer I'll find a spoon. Aha, spoon. And over here I've got a colander lined with 2 layers of cheesecloth over a bowl. This is really hot, so I'm going to hold it by the handle and just gently scoop this curd off of the top here. Now my favorite thing to do with this stuff is pizza sauce. Instead of doing a red sauce on the pizza, smear this on your crust and then put all your veggies and cheese on top. Sounds like dinner to me. Okay, we got our whey all cleaned up with this ricotta. We got our curd all compressed. And now it's time to do the main part of halloumi, which is to cook it in the whey. So I want about 1-inch thick pieces. I'm actually going to cut this in half lengthwise. I don't know if this is the right way to do this or not. And then I'm going to cut them in half this way. After they've been cooked, you're going to want to push them down and fold them over. So that should give you a good start to do that. Let me get this other one. I'm going to cut it in half. Ooh, hello. My whey's making funny noises. Turn that down. It's over 200 now. All right, cut in half. And I'm going to lower this into the whey over here. You want to maintain about 190 degrees on this. I'm a little over. And it's ready when it starts to float, which should be somewhere around 40 minutes. So we need to maintain this temperature about 190 degrees for 40 minutes. Now I've seen a lot of recipes that use dry mint, and I've seen some that use fresh mint. The ones that say they use the fresh say that you have to consume it right away. And now this is a fresh cheese, so it should be eaten in a few days anyway and not stored and kept around. But just to be sure, all that pretty mint that I picked earlier, I went ahead and I don't know if you can see there, some of it got a little brown looking that didn't get under the water, but I went ahead and just scalded it in some boiling water, or poached it, or what's the right word, I'm not gonna, anyway, put it in a little boiling water to kill any enzymes, and that's what I'm gonna use to fold into my cheese. So we'll maintain our temperature here. We'll check on it from time to time, and when it floats, it's ready. All right, here we've got all these done. I'm gonna let them cool down a little bit. Got mint in there. Yum. Hope that turned out. And here, I've got our little bit of ricotta still draining. Let these cool down a little bit and we'll try to fry one up.
Here we are frying cheese again.
And here we go, halloumi. Looks like it was a success. Got our mint on the outside. If we leave it sit overnight or a couple of days, the mint flavor should go into the cheese a little more. Okay. That's really good. Really sticky. So thank you for watching this video, and I'm going to attack this fried cheese. Please take the time to subscribe and look back for more videos coming each week. Thank you. Ooh, it's ricotta time. I can see this stuff starting to break. I'm just going to add about a tablespoon of kosher salt in here, just to give a little bit of flavor to our ricotta. Absolutely optional on that. And, you know, I wish I could see you, but I don't have my cameraman. There we go. I forgot what I was going to say.